Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Cambridge Los Angeles showroom in West Hollywood, and I'm here with Dinh with his movie Monday. Let's take a look at the clip.
Yo.
Congratulations on Monday. We loved it every day of the week. Sorry, I had to say that really cheesy joke right there. For those that haven't seen Monday, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
Well, thanks for having me. Monday is about a small-time hustler who has second thoughts about what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, you take us on quite an epic journey, which was amazing. I mean, great actors. It was a really awesome story. Where did your inspiration come from in making this film?
Well, I grew up in LA, and so I got a chance to grow up with a lot of different types of people, learn different slangs, see different cultures, and it's a special point of view, especially being Asian American.
Yeah.
I get to blend in a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Although my culture, our culture, is very ancient, in the modern times, it's not that in your face. And so, as an Asian American man, I got a chance to really hang out with Hispanic friends, African American friends, and Caucasian friends, and sort of adapt to who they are, how they behave, and just try to blend in. And so a lot of it comes from that sort of experience, that chameleon experience. People call it code switching.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that would be interesting to explore a little bit. And then, of course, that's not enough. And so I had to sort of take from what I saw and what I've gone through in LA and try to make a character out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and of course, that's not enough either. And so then there had to be consequences to what happens when you're a drug dealer or when you're breaking the law.
Mm-hmm.
And so I explored some of those ideas as well. Without ruining the film, there's one character that's really inspired by my real cousin in real life. So when you get a chance to, when people get a chance to see it, when you see that cousin character, that's my real cousin.
Oh wow! Well, I mean, it's a great story, and I love that, you know, it really does show. What I love about it, really shows LA and really shows the great diversity of LA as well. And you know, I'm from a different country, but I also grew up around a lot of amazing different people, and I adapted to my friends and who I was with, which I think is also really cool, because sometimes we take that for granted. Of like, you know, we've got people from all over the place, or their parents from all over the place, but we all kind of intermingle in each other. And when you live in a place like LA, which is such a glorious place to live, so diverse and great, and showing that story, how we kind of adapt to our friends as well. You had a great cast and a big cast as well. A great ensemble of people. How did you come about bringing them all together?
We put out a casting call on various online websites. One of them was Backstage. A couple other ones I can't remember, but there's some overlap there.
Mm-hmm.
And they all came in for a casting session, an audition. I didn't know any of those people beforehand.
Really?
And yeah, it was really exciting to see the black and white words come to life. Casting is one of my most favorite things, as well as the longest and most grueling days, because you deal with a lot of different personalities in casting, and everyone has a certain psychology and the way they exist in this world. And so being the so-called casting director on that day is tough, because you know, you read someone, they come in, everyone that comes in, we want them to be the one. We're always thinking, please be the one.
Yep.
And it's hard for me as a director to try to get and say the right things to make them become the one.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, ideas, when you explore ideas during the audition, trying things that really don't make sense just to see how far an actor can go. Yeah. And even for myself, exploring and making mistakes so I can learn on that audition for the next person that comes in.
I love that, because you're so open to it and aware of, like, you know, like, I think sometimes actors forget that, you know, like you said, as a casting director perspective, you want them to be the one.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not like, okay, well, come and show me what you got. It's like, no, we want you to be the one.
Please be the one.
Please be the one, you know. You kind of fooled me, though, because like, you made me feel like everyone just knew each other for a long time and you all were friends. Like, you know, you obviously really did a great job with the casting, because I was like, no, these are friends, these are cousins. I totally was convinced. This is a relationship. This is a mother. You know,
no one knew each other.
It's unbelievable. See, a good casting director, and you know the stakes are pretty high in this film as well. You know, I mean, it was centered around this a fantastic lead character who had a lot of scenes, going for a lot. I thought the way he adapted to each one of the scenes and his audience was just so slick as well. For you as a director, when you get into the kind of directing process and you have quite a large cast or large ensemble of people, what's your kind of approach as a director? Do you kind of let them fly with it, or do you give them advice or give them a backstory? How do you work?
So I think that's a really good question. I think that with each character and each actor, there's a different approach. Mm-hmm. With Kevin, he plays the lead. He had to be a specific way, so we worked pretty hard on that. Mm-hmm. I give him clips of lead male actors that I liked from mm-hmm. Asia and how mm-hmm. they work their face, how they operate the mechanics of mm-hmm. their face. And I found that there is this stoic approach to all leading men. Mm. And so Kevin's a really bright guy, very outgoing, very colorful in real life. And so we had to sort of look at lead actors who weren't that way, so mm-hmm. we can bring it back down a little bit. And then for Joe Cadiff, who plays Jerry, the coked out guy so for Jerry, who plays the coked out guy, he sort of ran with it. He saw the character. He did a lot of amazing things. Like he sent me photographs of himself in what he thought he should be wearing. And, and that in itself was pretty hilarious because we explored, obviously through wardrobe, you sort of get a sense of who people are. Yeah. And so that opened the door to even more funny moments that he could really, open up to. So just to be honest, when I'm writing this stuff, I have a general idea of who these people are. Yeah. I have a specific idea for the lead because it's an Asian American male, and I believe that there is a psychology that I have to attack. Yeah. And deal with. And so I was very careful with Kevin, but everyone else sort of, they had a chance to do whatever they wanted mm-hmm. as long as they said the lines and hit the joke. Mm-hmm. And going back to the script and transcribing it, I realized that many of the jokes are there, mm-hmm. and a lot of the dialogue that was said is close to what was written, but not exact. Mm-hmm. And I think that freedom makes it feel like people actually know each other. Yeah. Because I think what happens is, in conversation, just like what's happening right now, I don't know what I'm going to say, and so there's a certain spontaneity to that. And I think when actors could build on that spontaneity, things start to feel much more relevant and honest. I agree. But if I knew what I was going to say and I just said it to you, it would come off like I was acting.
I love it because this is like exactly how I never have an approach. I just want to feel what I say with you. Yeah, but I feel like, it's a great thing because, I feel my energy, I feel who I'm with, and I go off of that, and it's I don't need a script. It's
you
like,
just need the points.
Need the points, exactly.
You need to be reminded of the points. And then there's the power of editing. Yeah. There are a lot of lines that were taken out.
Thank goodness for the editor, I know, yeah.
They picked them, Matt Dadich was our editor, and he did a great job. And
he did a great job because you have to be a particularly great editor, for your particular thing, because you take us on this journey. It's almost like you're riding on I felt like I'm riding on that bike. I felt like I was like on that bike. I was like literally bird's eye view going through his journey of his day, of what he was experiencing and doing. You had a lot of different locations as well. Mm-hmm. Was that like, obviously you knew you were setting yourself a challenge there because you were everywhere, you were on a bike, there was a lot going on. How was that process for you?
We were lucky enough to have friends that all lived in a very close neighborhood in Los Feliz, Silver Lake, La Salle Park, Eagle mm-hmm. Rock.
Great place to film.
Yeah, all great textures. And so we picked locations that were really close to each other.
See, that's why you do it. You don't make it complicated. Very good. Yeah.
And we had company moves every day. We shot 3.5 days, and each day we did a scene at one house, and then we moved to the next house and did the scenes there.
See, that's it. See, that's a good try. I think sometimes, when people move themselves from one location to another, and that's tiring move in itself for your cast and crew and stuff. So
it is.
Keep a close vicinity.
So one of the tricks to that is to keep the filmmaking small. Mm-hmm. Not to have big trucks, not to have a lot of gear, not to have a lot of people. And that's what gave us that ability to move swiftly. We only, Adrian Kirchner, the DP, the fantastic DP, he only used a total of 3 kinos.
Oh, wow.
On the shoot. Yeah,
wow.
So we worked around the sun, and the nighttime locations were picked because of, obviously, because the way they looked, but they had huge light sources that were just built by either the city or the parking lot facility. So they were there. You know, so we looked at places that gave us the light, and then he shaped it the way he wanted to. And of course, you know, color correction.
Everything, yeah.
It plays, you know.
Yeah, of course. I feel like, Dinh, I feel like on your set you have this great natural trustworthy as a director. Like, yeah, he's got it. He knows what he's doing. Or if we don't know if there's changes, then I'm ready with a plan B. And I think that really is a great thing, because it certainly shows in the filming.
Now you're giving me a little bit too much credit, but yeah, there's.
Listen, you deserve it. Someone's got to give you credit. But what was the biggest challenge that you faced in making this project?
The biggest challenge was trusting people. And sometimes I trusted people too much. And then, and of course, that's based on your budget, our budget. You know, you can trust more when you have more money, because you're hiring people that are experienced, they know what they're doing, and then they're sort of invested. And then when the budget gets smaller, we started to ask for favors, and you know, that stuff, it puts pressure on people's egos and who they really are, and then that reflects on my behavior as well. So trusting people is the biggest challenge in filmmaking, because you know, you can't do it all. And if you were to do it all, you probably feel like you can do better, and you really can't, because you don't have enough help. And so that's one of the it's extremely important.
You know, from the moment that you decided to want to make this particular project, to filming it, to get into post, having it in a big screen in NewFilmmakers LA, what's that experience like for you?
You know, it's great to have people want to see the film, because Bojana Sendik,
we love her,
the coordinator for New Film, is one of my friends.
Oh, Bojana, we love Bojana. She's the best.
So she reached out, and she said, "Hey, we should feature your stuff." And I said, "That's great. That's a great feeling to have friends who like the work and want to show the work, and then to have an audience who have never seen it react to the moments that you're hoping as a writer they react to. You know, when people laugh, when people gasp, all that stuff."
And she's also one of the best programmers. That's a great trait when someone sees your work and is like, we need to have this.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. What's next for you?
I am trying to develop Monday into a TV series.
Great.
Yeah. And so the pilot is written, the treatment is written, and it's kind of floating around a little bit.
Yeah.
No one's biting yet, but.
Yeah. But it's, you know, it's keeping it consistent and simmering until. You know, I honestly, there's certain short films that just are short films. And then there are certain films like yourself where you want to see more, you want to see these characters develop. You have a great ensemble. And I think in this given day and age, you really show in your film the true greatness of the diverse of Los Angeles, what it really, really is. And I think even more so, that's what is important to make it into a TV series as well.
I hope so. I hope someone that wants to greenlight this will also see that.
Yeah. Will you accept any greenlit or checks through this interview? Would that be okay? Happens?
I'm very specific about what's supposed to happen with this series.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
I'm hoping that a respectable platform will see it.
Yeah.
I do have this thought of changing how our society looks at Asian males, and it's only a few platforms can do that.
Well, this was also part of, you know, all year round we celebrate local and global talent. In fact, we just had our Best of Awards, and you know, our best film actually, best feature came from Japan, which was amazing. And then we actually had 50% of our filmmakers from our on location of LA last year the directors were Asian, and 66% were Asian females as well.
That's awesome.
You know, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that within New Filmmakers LA, we certainly show the true great diversity of the world. But that is an area we've certainly got to bring some focus in Hollywood and making sure that we're being diverse and sharing that, right? And showing the different ways of living as Americans, you know? How do you feel about that as well? You want to be part of that change and just kind of, obviously you're doing that in your work anyway.
Well, I mean, it's a great time to be underrepresented right now. And so, of course, I'd like to take advantage of that. But I do have specific opinions about how to approach it. I'm not one that is trying to be, I'm not trying to exploit it.
No.
I'm trying to show it in a light that seems a little bit more acclimated to what the American culture is. Which means it's not really, currently in my mind, my stories aren't about immigrants moving to America. My stories are about Asians who have been in America and what that's like. And you know, when I get older and I get a little bit more mature, I'll probably go back to stories that that deal with immigration or deal with some of that history that we've gone through in regards to the Exclusion Act or the internment camps, all that stuff. But I don't think I'm mature enough to deal with those topics right now. I'm still pretty immature at heart, as you can tell by the short.
No, I mean, no, not at all.
You know, and so I want to be a little bit more playful at this point. I want to do stuff that makes people laugh, that makes people cry, that makes people angry, as opposed to informing an audience about what happened to us in the past. I'm not ready to deal with the mature content yet.
Well, I love that you know where you are and you know where you'll be going, and I think that's a great thing as a filmmaker to know and understand about yourself, and always keeping yourself open to exploration. And thank you for your great morals as a filmmaker. I feel like you shared a lot of really important information for filmmakers to sort of go out there and do their thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing much more of your work. So thank you very much for Monday, and we're looking forward to seeing much more.
Danny.
Thank you, man.
Pleasure.